Hello, hello. My name is Andrew Hochradel. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. I will be your host and guide today for your Illustrator Branding Challenge. It's going to be a great one. We're talking all about branding essentials today. And as a quick shout out, if you want to learn more about how to implement your brand after we talk about it today, and if you want to explore that and learn a little bit more in Creative Cloud Express, you can click right here. Let's see if we can time it. Boop. Wait, boop. And then it slides out. Or there is a link in the description for you to get resources on that as well. Check out Creative Cloud Express. It's super powerful paired with what we're talking about today. So let's go ahead and hop in and check out what is happening with branding essentials. We're here in Illustrator, and you can always grab your source file. It is a file that we're working on right here. You can grab it down in the description. There is a link for you to download this file, and there also is a link for you to download another file, which we'll talk about in a second. So let's talk branding essentials. What makes a brand? Join us as we build color palettes, type hierarchy, and logos for a brand. It's going to be a fun time. And yes, someone in our live chat is mentioning my new nails. I have to show it off. There's one. They're mirror tints. We had to do a little side tangent. All right, let's talk about branding. All right, so branding today, we're talking about essentials. There are some very specific things that you need to worry about when you are working on your brand. These are really the core components. And I know we teach a lot of kind of Illustrator tutorials, but I'm also going to talk about the idea behind what a brand is. So where I like to start is with brand colors. And in one of our past challenges, we have made a logo. If you want to download that logo, you can see the logo is right here. We've been working with Templeton Flowers. And so if you want to download this logo, you can again click on the little pop-up, boop, right there, click on the little pop-up, and you can download this file. And again, it is always down in the description for you as well. You can build that logo for us, and it is in that source file folder, but if you don't want to just have it for free, you can go ahead and design along with me in that link down in the description. All right, so we're going to start using this color. And the core components to a brand are colors, keywords, logos, and typography, right? Four things that are really important to building your brand. So first of all, let's go ahead and grab one of these. And we're going to start with our colors. And what I like to do is find a color that I really like, right? I pick one color that I really like. And for me, it's this purple, right? This purpley pink I think is gorgeous. So I'm going to use my direct selection tool right here, and I'm going to click on this. It will bring up that color here in the fill and stroke window. This is our fill. And I'm going to double click. And then we're going to use this magic code. So it is already highlighted for us, and this is called a hex code. And this is basically just letters and numbers that tell programs in Illustrator this is exactly where this color is and exactly what that color is. So we're going to Control C to copy that. And today we'll be using an extra resource that is Adobe Color. So you can do color.adobe.com. That is where you can get connected right here. And this is going to be super helpful for us to figure out a brand palette. Now we could use this to discover all of the colors, but we don't want to do that today. We want a little bit of customization in there. So I'm going to double click right here, and I'm just going to Control V to paste in that color. You can see that it augments and it brings that color in. And we have this little arrow, which means that it's the base color. So as we use the tools included in Adobe Color, we can use this as our base color, and it will find all of the other pieces for us. So over here, we have color schemes. Now, there is something that you can find brand colors and kind of just like feel it out and what vibes right. Here in Adobe Color, we're going to get the technical, correct answers for finding a color palette. So we could do monochromatic, and you can see it's going to shift to only these colors, right? It's shifting to a monochromatic palette. We can do a triad, which is, again, mathematical. It's going to create that triad. I actually really like this, so we might come back to it. We can do complementary, and that is going to keep them across from each other on the color wheel. Split complementary is going to give us a little bit of extra variation. Double split is going to get really crazy. This is looking a little bold for this brand. This feels a little bit off. We can do square, and you can just click through and you can see everything is based off of this core color, right? We can do shades of that color, or you can do something custom that is fully custom. So I actually loved what was happening here. Was it the triad? I think it was the triad. I really, really like these colors, especially for a florist. I think it's just gorgeous. So I'm going to name this over here, and we're going to name this Templeton. Templeton, there we go. And we are going to hit save. Now I have it saving to my Creative Cloud library for live sessions. It's a Creative Cloud library that I've created just for live sessions. And when we hit save, it is going to take all of this and take it to a very special place, which is our libraries over here in Illustrator. So let's come back to Illustrator, and we have our logo looking good. But we're going to grab some of these colors. So if we click right here on our library, watch what happens. I've opened up my live sessions folder, right? So right here I have live sessions. We click there, and live sessions is going to give us, this is all my content from live sessions. A lot of this is from a show called Office Hours that happens here on Adobe Live. But I'm going to scroll down, and we're going to find, there we go, Templeton right there. If I wanted to, I could also search if I knew what I had named it, and I can simply right click and then add theme to swatches. So now when I come over to my swatches panel, all of these colors will be here, perfect and ready to go. So all I have to do now is grab my selection tool, and I'm going to click on one of these boxes. They are grouped, so you can right click and ungroup them. I'm going to click on one of these rectangles and just start putting in my colors. So each of these can pull over from this color palette. And as you see, we have the color from the logo, right, that we had used. But we also have a lot of extra colors to really build out that palette. A brand is all about finding emotion. It's all about creating a vibe. And I think that these colors are the vibe, right? These are totally the vibe. So these look great. And let's go ahead and do something that I think is really important for branding, and that is naming your colors. If you're ever trying to communicate, it's much easier to name your colors, right? So I think that this middle one needs to be called Tulip. And maybe this one we have, and this is Stem. This one we'll do Sky. This darker blue we'll do as, what's a blue flower? Do we have a blue flower? Let's just call this Water. Sure, it's not great, but we'll keep it. And this one is going to be Rose. So naming them is an easy way to communicate. If you're working with a client, if you're working with a brand, you can say, oh yeah, put that in rose, right? Instead of put that in purple, well, is it the light purple, the dark purple, or the pink? Or hey, put that in water, right? Instead of these two, you can really pick out what color you're going to be using. So the next thing we want to do with colors is we're going to zoom in here. And what I like to do is note the hex code, the RGB values, and the CMYK, right? It maybe sounded like I just started speaking a different language, but here's how that works. The hex code is the exact number so that they can find it for internet purposes, for finding that color. The RGB stands for red, green, and blue. Those are the numbers that you'll use for anything on a screen. So if you're working in Creative Cloud Express, you're working in Illustrator trying to find a color, red, green, and blue is what you're going to use, RGB. CMYK stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And those are what you'll use for printing things, right? We're trying to make sure that the colors just stay cohesive here. So we do want to fill in each of these pieces. And the easiest way to do that is just to click on this shape so we have our color. And then we can double click. We can copy that hex code right here, Control C. And I'm just going to paste it into this box. The same thing with RGB. I can go in here and we can select that color. And this gets a little bit tedious. But we can look at these in 145, 49, and 102. So we can go 145, 49, and 52. It's hard to remember those sometimes. So you can do this for all these colors. This is just a good way to note what your colors are. And that was 102. Got a little bit confused there. 102, and then CMYK, same thing. We can just pull those numbers. And what's helpful is by creating these numbers, you're able to send it to a printer. You're able to know exactly what they are. So 42, 93, 35, 11. 42, 93, 42, 93, 35, 11. All right, so those are all our colors. You can do those for all of these different pieces, and that will allow you to create a color scheme to implement your brand, right? Super helpful. So I do want to do a very special shout out to all of our friends. Hi, hello chat. I didn't say hi at the beginning. If you are watching this on YouTube, hello, nice to see you. Thanks so much for tuning in. But we're live every single day, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time for these challenges in Illustrator. To learn more, if you want to join us, you can go to behance.net/Adobe Live. But we are glad that you're joining us. We're going to continue on. But I want to say hi to Aaron. I want to say hi to Abraham, Richard, Paloma. Nice to see you all here in the live chat. It's always great. You can drop questions if you want, and if you're watching on YouTube, drop questions down below. We'll come back and answer those on our community stream that's coming up in a little while. So let's hop back in here and let's talk about some keywords. Now, keywords are so important, and this isn't really a technical skill you can learn in Illustrator. It's something that's important for your brand. So I want to make sure that we have a couple keywords here, and it's important to define what your brand is and what your brand is not. So we can type in here, maybe we want it to be warm, but not overbearing, right? And so it's important to say what things are and what they're not. So maybe we say fresh, but not organic, right? We're not going to say any promises. And maybe we want them to be floral, but not dated, right? We want it to be maybe refined, but not pretentious. Shush. Oh, I'm so sorry. Spelling. So we can type in those, and it's really important to define what those are because it will help us to define what our typography is going to look like. And one more thing before we move on to typography that I did want to point out is we do have a Discord. There is a link down in the description for you to join that. You can go to bit.ly/AI Discord or click on the link in the description, and you can post your work there and get some feedback. So once you're done with your brand, you can post that work there. All right, so let's talk about typography. Really, really important. And we know that we are warm, fresh, floral, and refined. And so what we can do is we can start looking for type to do here. Now we want to have three different things to start. We want a header, we want a subhead, and then we want our body copy. And the headline is really the thing that you will shout from across the room, right? It is how your brand communicates to a larger audience. So we're going to click here with the type tool to just get some type in. And I'm going to scale this up using the scale tool by just hitting S right there. And I'm going to hit Control T or go to Window and then go down here to Type and Character right there. And we're going to find a good font. Now we're going to click here and we're going to be able to filter, and we can go to Find More to find other fonts from Adobe. We can filter, and looking at fresh, floral, and refined, I think that I want something that has a serif, right? Serifs are really important. So we're going to click right here on serif. And serifs usually make things feel a little bit more refined, a little bit more high end. So we're going to click on serif, and then I'm going to kind of just scroll through here and find one that I think looks big and bold for a kind of big headline. And I do know the one that I want to use, so I'm going to cheat a little bit here. We're going to use Mrs. Eves, and we're going to do it in petite caps, petite caps. So Mrs. Eves, one of my favorite fonts, we're going to use it in petite caps. And here we're just going to type out headline and then maybe the name, Mrs. Eves. So we have the headline here, and that is defined, looks pretty good. And next we want a subhead, and subhead is going to be something that's just a little bit smaller that we can use for callouts and extra pieces. Now, what's really helpful to do for a subhead is to click right here and see if there are other versions of that font that you could use. So it looks like Roman lining actually might be a good choice here, right? It looks similar, it's a little lighter, it's in the same family. So let's click on Roman lighting, and we are going to change this to say subhead. And this will be, again, Mrs. Eves, Roman lining. Now, the cool thing about doing this with your fonts is now these automatically pair well together and they're talking to each other, right? So everyone close your eye. Well, everyone look at the screen. Okay, now close your eyes and think about warm, fresh, floral, and refined, right? And maybe our business wants to say, hey, we'd love for you to come and buy our flowers, right? Experience our floral arrangements. Now, look at this type, right? This is saying that it's warm, welcoming. When we think about that voice, this feels like the grandma that's opened her flower shop, right? This feels like two guys that have followed their passion and they're refined and they're warm and they're welcoming. They give you tea when you walk in, right? This is something that feels right. And that's what we're looking for in type, is trying to find the feeling of that voice. Now, as we bring it down to our body copy, it's much better to do area type instead of point type. So we can grab our type tool and we are going to click and drag out for us to fill in with that body copy. Now, I am not mad about how Mrs. Eves looks in Roman lining, but the spacing is a little odd. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it a little bit. So we're going to click here and I am going to find just another nice little serif. You can see that it's there. And as I scroll through, you'll see it's actually going to automatically put those in for me, right? So I can see them. And I love Battlefin right here. That looks great. And we're going to bring the sizing down. And then we can also change the leading by clicking right here and then just hitting down. And that's going to bring our lines a little bit closer together. So body copy is always big paragraphs. And so we want to show what it looks like in a paragraph. So that's looking pretty good here. Wow. All right, so that's a good pairing. And as we look at this, we're thinking, does it feel like flowers? Does it feel floral? Does it feel warm and welcoming? And it does, right? I like these little sharp points. It feels like it has a nice little like thorn to it. Now, right here, you can also grab our logo, and we're going to do a couple variations of the logo as we build our brand. If you don't have this file, it is included in our source file in the description. If you want to build this file and learn how to do it, you can do so right here. Click on the little pop-up that pops up there, or that is also down in the description to follow that challenge. It is a logo challenge where we create this logo together. So we're going to grab this logo, and I'm just going to drag it over here. And what's really important to do with your logos is to have a couple different variations. Now this is all grouped together, so it is not grouped together. Perfect. So the variations that you need to have for your logo, you need a word mark, you need a logo mark, and then a logo mark reversed, or each of those reversed out, which means on a dark background. So the logo for first, I'm just going to grab this and I'm going to click and drag holding Alt or Option to make a copy of it. So now I have the logo, the word mark, right? So word mark looks great. And we're going to make another copy of this, right? I'm going to select both of these by just holding Shift. And we're going to right click and hit Group. What is happening? Oh, I did something bad there. We're going to grab these, right click, and I'm just going to use the hotkey, Control G, that's Group. And we are going to make another copy of it by just clicking and dragging down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag out right there a little box that's going to go behind it. And I'm going to use the eyedropper tool to maybe grab another one of our colors. And I'm going to right click and arrange and send to back. That's going to allow us to see what the logo looks like on a different color. So I don't necessarily want this combination. So I'm going to grab the eyedropper tool and just click on white, or we're going to make it white right here. And that will allow us to see what our logo looks like, if it's going to be on a dark background, if it's going to be on a shirt, if it needs to be in one color. That allows us to see all of those variations. And if you want to, you could go in and change out all of the different colors just to make sure that it works together. So from here, we also want to include, of course, just our full logo. So I'm going to drop this right here. And then we want to include the logo mark on a single color and on a multicolor. So right here we have it in full color, which is looking good. And we can move that, just make a copy and paste it, or hit Alt or Option to put it across. And from here, we are going to change the color of the fill. Now, all these fills are the same, but if I grab the eyedropper tool and let's say that we want it in a single color, like this dark purple here. If we grab the eyedropper tool with the selected, it's going to fill in the whole thing. And we have these strokes on here, which we don't want to deal with, right? We'll do a little bit in a future lesson to show how to cut this out, but I just want to change the fill color. So with the eyedropper tool, all you need to do is hold shift, and with shift selected, it will only grab the fill or stroke that is on the front. So right now we have the fill. If I hold shift, it is only going to fill with that one color, right? So now we have the one color version looking great. We're gonna make another copy here, and we do wanna do a reversed out one color. So we're gonna do it on this nice little blue. And again, I'm just going to right click, arrange and send to back. And then I'm going to select this shape, and we want that background color, right, where that white is the stroke. We want that to be blue now. So we can grab our eyedropper tool, we can hold shift and then click on this blue. And because the stroke is in front this time, we'll be able to select just that blue color, and it looks like it's knocked out. Now you can see these colors are not playing well together. And so we want to say, hey, anytime this logo is used in your brand, we want you to be able to click here and say, hey, it always needs to be white. So we have our fill here, and we're going to select white, right? And maybe we want to play around and add in one of these lighter colors. We can simply, again, grab out of our swatches, add in one of those colors. That looks gorgeous. I love these colors together. That's a surprise to me. I love these colors together. So these look fantastic. And as we zoom out here, we can see that we have our Wordmark, we have our Logomark reversed out one color and full color. And then we also have our full logo. Now we may want to also do a version of the full logo that is reversed out, right? So we're going to put a background here. Looking good. And I'm going to make this smaller just so we can see it better. So we're going to shrink this down and oops, there we go. And I'm just using the move tool right there. So we're going to send this to the back, arrange and send to back. And then I can very easily change these colors out. I can select here, I can select here, select here, and say, hey, every time that there is a fill color, I actually want it to be this nice blue, right? And maybe the background this time, I want to be that nice green. So we're gonna click on that green, and then we want this stroke to also be green. And so we want this stroke to be in the front, and we are going to click on that green, and wow, that looks great. So now this is how you build your brand, right? Look how quickly we did that, right? We did have to make a logo, which is the hardest part, but we pulled in Adobe Color to create some colors. We defined our keywords. We found some awesome typography, and then we made all of the pieces that we will need for our brand. Now, if you want to implement this brand, take this brand, right? And it's not surprising that those work together. And yes, it does. The live chat is saying it's surprising. I did not expect those colors to work well together. That's why Adobe Color is magic, because it gives you unexpected results sometimes. So what I want you to do is go ahead and build out your brand, and I want to see you post it in our Discord. I'd love to see the work that you create. You can get some feedback there, and we can all work together. Again, if you want to join that Discord, there is a link down in the description to join one of our creative communities. And you can see over here that you can just post in the challenge tab over on the side. Scroll down, you can see people posting all of the great work that they have been creating. So I'd love to see your work posted there. And if you want to figure out how to take this brand that you set up, right? We built a logo, we've built the brand. If you want to implement that and start using it in Creative Cloud Express, there's also a link down in the bio to another video to help you implement that and use the Brandify features in Creative Cloud Express. So click on that link, watch that video, bookmark this, and I will see you again for another Illustrator challenge. It's going to be a great time. We've got a ton of content coming at you. And if you ever want to tune in and just say hi, behance.net/Adobe Live. We're live pretty much every single day during the week. So tune in, say hi, and I'll see you again later for another Illustrator challenge. Bye.